It's pole position for Matt Campbell, his 4th pole position of the season so far. Alongside him on the front row of the grid is Zaid Ashkanani, who's had his best ever qualifying performance there in the blue and white car number 15. The young Kuwaiti driver, just 23 years of age. Behind them on the grid in 3rd position is going to be the black and white Lechner MSG Racing Team entry of Michael Ammermuller. He is going to be starting in 3rd place. He leads the championship by 8 points over Dennis Olsen, who, as you can see, is in that red and white car that's going to be starting right behind him on the grid. That red and yellow Momo Megatron entry is a guest entry this weekend for Jaap van Lagen, a man who knows all about the Porsche Supercup, having been racing in it for a number of years, as well as the Porsche Carrera Cup in Germany as well, and basically any Porsches he can find all around the world, be it in various GT series. That is Dennis Olsen we're looking at. 2 wins for him last time out in the double-header at Spa, means that he's closed the championship gap to Michael Ammermuller to just 8 points, with only 3 races remaining here at Monza, and then a double-header in Mexico City later on in September. So only 3 races to go. Having had 8 races already, we're very much into the closing stages of the season, and Ammermuller in 3rd place will be looking for a strong result this weekend. There he is, number 1 on the car, the 31-year-old from Germany, A1 GP race winner, GP2 race winner in his single-seater career. There's his teammate Dan Camish in car number 2. The British driver could only manage 8th place in that practice session that then turned into qualifying, essentially. So a frustration for Camish, because he retired in the 2nd race at Monza after being on the podium in 2 of the first 3 races of the season. He's only been on the podium once in the subsequent 5 races, so a slight downturn in Camish's form. He'll be looking to rescue that, maybe not here today, starting that far down the grid, but possibly, as we go on board with him, possibly in the double-header in Mexico City. 6th on the grid, Mattia Drudi, the young Italian at his home race, the highest up of the Italian drivers, but he's only just ahead of Daniele Di Amato, and the Dynamic Motorsport team had a big job on their hands over the course of the week, because 2 of their cars were caught up in a massive accident at the end of the race in Spa-Francorchamps, and as a result they had to build those cars up from scratch again. A real tough job for them, but they were determined to do it, considering it's their home race here, the Italian team at Monza. But here's Matt Campbell. Took his first Porsche Supercup win at the Red Bull Ring earlier this season. Since then, it hasn't gone according to plan, hasn't finished higher than 5th, despite this being his 4th pole position of the season. Spectacularly took pole position in his Porsche Supercup debut right at the start of the season in Catalunya. But now he is going to be starting on pole here in Monza. Alongside him on the front row of the grid, then number 15, Zaid Ashkanani, the 23-year-old Q80 2014 Porsche Carrera Cup Middle Eastern champion. Had a bit of GP3 experience with Campos a couple of years ago, but now he's in his 2nd Porsche Supercup season. Roland Burville there, car number 20. This is the view from championship leader Dennis Olsen, starting in 4th place, from 2nd place man in the championship. Dennis Olsen starting from 4th place, and Chris Langer is going to be the last man to line up. And just a note that car number 16, which is Roar Lindland, is starting down at the back because he got a 10-place grid penalty for causing an avoidable collision last time out in Spa-Francorchamps. So not ideal stuff for Roar Lindland. As we wait now for the racing to get underway. Langer pulling into position. Green flag waves at the back of the grid. Matt Campbell on pole, Ashkanani alongside him. The 2 championship rivals on the 2nd row as the lights go out and the race begins in Monza. Who's going to get the best start? Matt Campbell pulls across, so does Ammermuller, and it's a good start for Dennis Olsen, and he and Ammermuller are going absolutely side by side. Olsen's going to get pushed onto the grass, so he has to force himself back across. Campbell holds onto the lead. Ashkanani looks to the outside. Olsen and Ammermuller in 3rd and 4th, rubbing door handles. There's a spinner in the middle. Around goes Daniele Di Amato, and everybody has to take evasive action. There's damage to one of the cars further back as well. I think that's going to be Dylan Pereira, the Luxembourg driver, who's in trouble. But Matt Campbell holds the lead, that's for sure. Ashkanani in 2nd position was under pressure from Ammermuller, but he's managed to hold on. But crucially, in terms of the championship, Dennis Olsen in 3rd place has got ahead of the championship leader, Michael Ammermuller. Jaap van Lagen in 5th position. Then it's Mattia Drudi running behind in 6th place. Up into 7th then has gone Philip Morin. the Swedish driver in the early stages. And Ashkanani is having to go very, very defensive as they come down towards the second Lesmo corner. And out onto the run down towards Ascari. There in the gravel is Dylan Pereira. He's out, as is Daniele Diamato. Is that going to bring out the safety car? Yellow flags are out. Yes, safety car deployed. Safety car deployed at Monza. So Matt Campbell will back off and hold the rest of the field up. But what a frantic start that was. Mikkel Overgaard Pedersen then up into 8th place. Paul Rees, the man from Oxford, up into 9th with Ryan Cullen completing the top 10. There's Egidio Perfetti, who is running in... just looking for him on the timing screens there. 14th place for Perfetti, but there is Dylan Pereira. Now, he'd already had contact by the time he got to the first chicane, because you could see the smoke pouring from the front of his Porsche. And the Luxembourg driver, who's had 3 podiums this season, including the last race in Spa, is out. Daniele Diamato there in the orange Dynamic Motorsport car. He was sent spinning at the first corner. So keep an eye out here on Michael Ammermuller. He sees Dennis Olsen alongside him, has got a better start, and he forces him off the circuit towards the wall. Olsen's in there though, he sees the grass coming and has to force himself back across the track. Pretty rude stuff from Ammermuller, but he did relinquish when he saw the grass coming. Ashkanani tried to go around the outside. Now what happens here with Diamato? There's the contact. So it was Diamato coming together with Dylan Pereira that spun the two of them around. Everybody else gingerly makes their way through. So keep an eye out on the green car there. He escapes, but it's the orange car behind, isn't it, of Diamato that is hit by Pereira. One man who lost a lot of positions in that is Dan Camish. He's dropped down to 18th position now, having started 8th on the grid. This is the view on board with Matt Campbell from the start. Goes across to cover the inside line. And had it reasonably under control, I think, the young Australian. This was the view from Dan Camish, so this is going to show you exactly how much time he lost, because he's in there with this fight. There is Dennis Olsen in the red and white car on the right being pushed off and forcing himself back, but keep an eye on this 24 car on the left. That's the car that nudges Drudy and then into the side of Diamato, and Dan Camish is just caught out, and he's got to try and get around these two broken cars, and look how many places he loses. This is on board with Olsen. Good start. Here comes Ammermuller saying, you're not coming through. Olsen keeps his foot in it as he's driven towards the wall by the German and just manages to get back on the tarmac before picking up the grass. So Ammermuller's still there on the outside, but he gives him space, and, well, here's the view from Ammermuller. A lot of wheel spin. You see him moving to the inside. Sees the grass coming, knows he ought to give Olsen a bit more room. Now, is he held up by Ashkanani here? That's the question, because in this scenario, he could still be able to hold on to the position. But yeah, he has to get on the brakes to avoid Ashkanani. So Dennis Olsen is able to go around the outside at the chicane. Really impressive stuff from Dennis Olsen. There's the spin for Diamato. Dan Camish, I think, picks up a bit of damage in here as well, because they hit again for the second time, and you can see there's a bit of front bodywork there on Camish's car that then gets torn up by the rear of Dylan Pereira. And Pereira's then in the gravel, but the race is already over for him as his car gets removed. And Diamato's car already moved. The incident is under investigation and by race control, but the cars are still out there circulating behind the safety car. Didn't quite get the track clear in time to bring the safety car in on this lap, so it should, in theory, be going in on the next lap, with Matt Campbell leading the way. Has taken a victory this season in the Red Bull Ring earlier on in Austria. Safety car in this lap, the message from race control. So the order: Campbell, Ashkanani, Olsen, Ammermuller, Jaap van Lagen in 5th, Mattia Drudy 6th, Philip Morin, Mikkel Overgaard Pedersen, Paul Rees and Ryan Cullen completing the top 10. Then it's Lucas, Bauer, Valilko, Perfetti and Preining, the top 15. Quaresmini, Webster, Camish, Sager and Al Zubair, the top 20. Then Paris, Sharp, Lindland, Radcliffe, Solieri, the top 25, with Burville, Pallet and Santiago Creel completing the runners after those retirements that we've had. Cars flashing through the first of the Lesmo corners. Not quite as fast as they will be, though, in race trim in a couple of moments' time, because the safety car, while the lights are still on, they'll turn off, you'd imagine, down this back straight in between the second Lesmo corner and the chicane. But a frantic start to the race, and we'll see how good Matt Campbell's restarts are going to be here, because Zaid Ashkanani can smell a first ever victory in the Porsche Supercup, a first ever podium finish in the Porsche Supercup. A 4th place in Monaco back in May is his best ever result. But now Matt Campbell, the man who won the Australian Formula Ford Championship aged just 17, he's now the ripe old age of 22, will decide when to go, because the lights are off on the safety car. When is Campbell going to floor the throttle and get the racing back underway here in Monza? There he goes. And Ashkanani's not gone with him, but Dennis Olsen is there right behind Ashkanani. Here they come down towards the Parabolica. Good restart from Matt Campbell. The man under pressure is going to be the man in second place, Zaid Ashkanani. As the racing gets back underway, we come around to start lap 4 of this 14-lap race. Campbell leads, Ashkanani second, Olsen third, Ammermuller fourth, Van Lagen fifth. Van Lagen under pressure from Mattia Drudi. Drudi in the green car, looking to the outside of Jaap Van Lagen in the Momo Megatron entry. Onto the brakes, into turn 1. Is everybody going to get stopped? Ashkanani goes deep. Drudi tries to go around the outside, can't quite do it. Olsen still tucked right underneath the rear wing of Ashkanani. On board we go, with Olsen in third place. Tries to sell the little dummy. Ashkanani covers. Ammermuller there, the championship leader, keeping a watching brief in 4th spot at the moment. Philip Morin spreading out a little bit further back because he's under pressure from Mikkel Overgaard Pedersen. Into Lesmo 2. On board with Ammermuller. 4th place for the championship leader. You see him pulling the paddle shifts, no more sequential gear stick boxes on these Porsche Supercup cars. Ammermuller, oh, he's very good through Ascari. Very neat and tidy. And he's going to be right behind Dennis Olsen as they come out towards Parabolica. And Olsen knows it. The red and white car covering the inside line. Ammermuller looks to the outside. Jaap Van Lagen under pressure again from the green car of Drudi. Ammermuller's going to have a really good run now down the start-finish straight. May even get a bit of a double toe here because Olsen is close to Ashkanani as they rumble underneath the commentary box. Only 2 car lengths between them. Ammermuller's opportunity is here to try and get 3rd place away from Dennis Olsen. Not quite close enough. Here comes Mikkel Overgaard Pedersen. Oh, and they're going side by side, and Jaap Van Lagen's locked up, and Overgaard Pedersen and Philip Morin both have to go straight on down to the first chicane. That cost them a lot of time. But Ammermuller still right behind Dennis Olsen. We go on board with the German. Olsen up in front of us. Little dummy, little shimmy. Ashkanani covering it as well. Now Jaap Van Lagen's coming under pressure from Paul Rees, who is up into 7th place. So this is a good performance from the man from Oxford. But Olsen really having to defend into the first Lesmo. Mattia Drudi has joined the fight as well. On board with Ammermuller. Another good run out of the second Lesmo, but there's not really that big a braking zone at Ascari. Unless Ammermuller's feeling super brave. Not this time around. All the while, the Italian Mattia Drudi, second in the Porsche Carrera Cup Italy last year, so knows his way around these Italian circuits. The 19-year-old from Rimini. You almost can't see Ammermuller's car, he's so close to the back of Olsen. Into the Parabolica, he's going to nudge him almost. Oh, a little bit of oversteer in the middle of the corner for Ammermuller. Is that going to be the opportunity for Mattia Drudi in the green car to try and get past? Drudi pulls alongside. He's going to be on the outside on the run down towards the first chicane. Ammermuller in the black and white car on the inside. Drudi in the green car on the outside, battling over 4th position. Drudi's late on the brakes, Ammermuller's later, and holds the place for the moment. But all that will be respite for Dennis Olsen in 3rd spot. Matt Campbell, meanwhile, sets the fastest lap of the race. He's now got a 1.2 second lead over Zaid Ashkanani. But Ammermuller, all from that slightly loose moment coming out of the Parabolica, is under big pressure from Mattia Drudi. Robert Lucas has got past Paul Rees and is up into 7th place. The Polish driver making progress, having started down in 16th place, Robert Lucas. So that's a really good drive to get up into 7th position. Dennis Olsen is already under big pressure from Ammermuller, so he looked as though he had an advantage here. Keep an eye on his middle sector time, because he's lost an awful lot of time. The gap was 0.4 of a second at the line. It's now nothing. Down towards Ascari again. The 2 championship protagonists. Olsen chasing Ammermuller in the title race. He wants to chip away at the German's lead. On board we go with Olsen. Problem for Ammermuller is he's got Drudi behind him attacking as well. Let's see if Ammermuller's a bit neater through Parabolica this time. Yep. Much neater for Ammermuller. Campbell leads, Ashkanani second, but this is the battle for 3rd position. Olsen wondering whether to defend or not. Ammermuller looking for the inside, not close enough. Really late on the brakes for Dennis Olsen. Too late on the brakes for Olsen. He has to skip across the chicane, and that's going to be Ammermuller's chance. Mikkel Overgaard Pedersen cutting the corner as well, but here comes Ammermuller, flashing his lights, trying to get the inside overlap at Curva Grande. And again, Drudi behind in the green car, Jaap van Lagen in that red and orange Momo Megatron car. Well, look how much curb Drudi took. Ammermuller stuck it in the gravel, looks to the inside, also pushes him onto the grass. And that allows Drudi to go around the outside of the first Lesmo. They hit each other, and that's going to allow Jaap van Lagen to come and take both of them up the inside. Jaap van Lagen takes 2 places. Mattia Drudi has shuffled back, Ammermuller's shuffled back, and Dennis Olsen's in 3rd place. Fantastic racing in the Porsche Supercup, lap 7 of 14. So we're approaching half race distance. And the 2 championship rivals, and here comes Robert Lucas. That's a risky one. Ammermuller's off in the gravel. Michael Ammermuller, the championship leader, bounces across the grass, hurtles back on now behind Mattia Drudi. So that is now a 6th position for Michael Ammermuller. But it's going to be worse than that, because he's not got a good run, and people are coming past him left, right and centre. Cullen's passed, Overgaard Pedersen's passed, Ilgor Velilko's passed. This is a disaster for Michael Ammermuller's championship challenge. Matt Campbell leads the way, Ashkanani in 2nd, but Dennis Olsen's in 3rd place now. And Michael Ammermuller across the line is in 10th position. Oh, and a mistake. Was that from Olsen? Olsen's gone wide. And that has allowed Jaap van Lagen up into 3rd. Velilko's in the gravel. Robert Lucas trying to get past Dennis Olsen now. So there's the top 2. Campbell and Ashkanani. Who's going to pop up in 3rd? It's Jaap van Lagen. Who's in 4th? It's Robert Lucas. Robert Lucas in the 11 car goes around the outside of Olsen. Mattia Drudi trying to get in the fight as well. The incident involving Lucas and Ammermuller is under investigation, and Olsen's back passed on the exit of the 2nd chicane. So Olsen squeezes back through and up into 4th position. Big slide from Robert Lucas, and that allows Mattia Drudi in the Dynamic Motorsport entry up on the inside. This is great. Down towards Ascari. On board with Dennis Olsen in 4th position. It says 3rd on the little graphic there, but that's because they haven't come across the line yet. So let's have a look at the replay of these two going wide. Overgaard Pedersen, Paul Rees, I should say, colliding with Overgaard Pedersen and Ryan Cullen. All 3 of them missing the first chicane. There's Olsen being pretty forceful with Ammermuller. Drudy went around the outside, but then they hit each other. That allowed Jaap van Lagen in the 22 car up the inside to get past both of them. And Ammermuller, it wasn't done for him at this point. He was still a place behind Olsen, which wasn't ideal. And Olsen now has Mattia Drudy going past him. So Drudy's now into 4th place, Olsen into 5th. Ammermuller, meanwhile, is in 9th place. So Dennis Olsen in 5th spot. Here's a look now at what happened. It was at Parabolica. Great move from Mattia Drudy. Late on the brakes into the Parabolica, and that is 4th place. You can see discussions on the pit wall, and plenty of them. There is Michael Ammermuller. So Ammermuller's in 9th at the moment. Dennis Olsen's in 5th. So that would be a swing of 5 points. There's Paul Rees, he's out of the race after that collision down at the first corner. What's going on here? We've got Robert Lucas and Ryan Cullen side by side into Ascari. Cullen cuts across the curbing on the inside and holds on to that place at the moment. Makes that place actually up into 6th place for Ryan Cullen. Really good performance this for the Irishman. We're on board with Ammermuller in 9th place behind Mikkel Overgaard Pedersen. As it stands, the gap at the top of the championship would come down to just 3 points with 2 races remaining. Still Ammermuller would lead it, but Olsen would take the gap down to just 3 points. But Ammermuller's trying to make up places. Damage limitation now for the German. Lap 10 now of 14. He's in the tow of Overgaard Pedersen. Morin and Preining behind, going side by side. Josh Webster involved in there as well. Here are the standings. Campbell leading it. 1.5 seconds clear of Ashkanani. 3rd for Jaap van Lagen. 4th for Mattia Drudy. 5th for Dennis Olsen. Cullen, Lucas and Pedersen completing the top 8 with championship leader Michael Ammermuller in 9th position. Look how much curb they take, and Ammermuller's in the gravel again. Took too much curb, and that sent him out wide, and Preining looks to the inside now and goes through. Webster goes through. Phil Lilko trying to go through as well, but isn't quite able to do so. Yes, he is. And once again, Ammermuller is slipping away, and he slides, and I imagine his teammate Dan Camish won't go past him. Well, keep an eye out on the number 2 car. He's going to go around the outside here. You'd think, as Robert Lucas and Ryan Cullen almost come together down at Ascari, you'd think the 2 teammates would play it out so that Ammermuller remains ahead, and they do so. So here we go, on board with Ammermuller, goes wide into the first part, has to skip over the second part, bounces over it, sticks the wheels in the gravel, loses some bodywork parts as well. This is turning into a nightmare race for Michael Ammermuller. Now we've got Mikkel Overgaard Pedersen and Robert Lucas going side by side for 7th position. Ryan Cullen up in front of them in 6th place in what would be his best ever Porsche Supercup finish. The battle for 7th, Overgaard Pedersen in the white and red car, the Danish driver on the inside, Robert Lucas on the outside, the pole, and the pole is forced over the runoff area. Slots in behind Cullen. Philip Morin, I think, cut the chicane as well. So Ammermuller now down in 13th place. which would only give him 3 points compared to the 12 for a 5th place finish for Dennis Olsen. That's a 9-point swing, and as it stands, Dennis Olsen would move to the lead of the championship by 1 point. So we've got to keep an eye on Michael Ammermuller and see how far up the order he can progress. But what a race and what a championship swing we're seeing here. Ammermuller has led the title race since the opening day in Barcelona back in May. But that could all be about to change if he can't make progress. Mikkel Overgaard Pedersen past Robert Lucas, up into 7th place after Lucas runs wide at the second Lesmo. Lap 11 of 14. Lucas back through. Great fight between these two. Incident involving Philip Morin and Michael Ammermuller is under investigation as well. The two almost coming together on the exit of the second chicane. Lucas now on the inside here. Mikkel Overgaard Pedersen trying to get a good run. A little bit of a nudge in the middle of the parabolica there. Behind them is Philip Morin. Overgaard Pedersen covering the inside line, but nothing he can do. Philip Morin goes past. Preining goes through as well. Preining very late on the brakes there. There's going to be some nudges here. Overgaard Pedersen, and wow, what a move from Preining around the outside of Philip Morin. Ilgo Vililko going off the circuit, and that allows Ammermuller a place. Oh, they hit each other, coming through Curva Grande, and off is Ilgo Vililko. Back across in front of Alzubert, just gets away with that one. That was a scary one. There's bits of polystyrene on the circuit now. Vililko looks as though he's got damage on his right front. Matej Drudi sets the fastest lap of the race. Dan Kamish is cutting the chicane. Where do you look? Matej Drudi sets the fastest lap. So, here's a look at what we're seeing. Look at Preining go around the outside on the brakes. He's super late on the brakes and goes past Philip Morin. Great move. But then what happens here with Ammermuller? So, Vililko comes back onto the track, and then the two sort of inexplicably hit each other. Can't quite figure out why they would have come into contact there. They were obviously side by side, but then Vililko spinning back across the circuit. That was not fun. I think that could be the end of Vililko's race. Here's Ryan Cullen in 6th place. Then you've got Preining in behind him. Mikkel Overgaard Pedersen's been given the black and white driving standards warning flag. Campbell that leads across the line. Ashkanani 2nd, Drudi 3rd, Jaap van Lagen 4th. There is Vililko's race over. He's parked it at a good spot as we start the penultimate lap of the race. Hopefully the marshals can pull that back and it'll just be covered under yellow flags. Philip Morin and Preining going side by side. Preining holding on to 8th place at the moment. So Ammermuller now, well, Ammermuller's now behind Kamish and in 13th position. So Ammermuller behind his teammate, and there's contact. Morin's off in the gravel. So's Mikkel Overgaard Pedersen, but Morin, well, I think he might keep it out of the barriers and keep going. Wow, they both continue. That's 2 places gained for Ammermuller meanwhile. Penultimate lap of what has been a frantic Porsche Supercup race. Perfetti's just been off. Quaresmini there in car number 34. He was running down in about 15th position. Mikkel Overgaard Pedersen's dropped back. See what happens here. Overgaard Pedersen and Philip Morin coming through Curva Grande. Again, just such unnecessary contact because that's an easy flat-out right-hander. Here's Ammermuller's view of it. Sees the 2 cars flying off and says, well, that's actually Dan Kamish's view. Kamish then got a good run on Josh Webster. Didn't quite manage to get through. Here we see them again. And it's almost as if Philip Morin didn't realise Overgaard Pedersen was there on the outside. How he kept it out the barriers, I have no idea. Final lap of the race now for Matt Campbell. Ashkanani second, Drudy third, Van Lagen fourth. Fifth for Dennis Olsen. Here's Ammermuller. They're both going past Josh Webster here. So that'll be Ammermuller up into 10th position. If he can hold on. Oh, there's contact with Robert Lucas. And they do manage to get through, so Kamish now up into 9th, Ammermuller into 10th. So 10th place would be a 6-point swing in the championship. So that means the gap would come down to just 2. Ammermuller still leading now that he's gained up a few places. But oh, Josh Webster super late on the brakes. Looked as though he was lunging at Ammermuller, had to go straight on. And they all slot back into their appropriate positions. But it would be a 2-point lead that Michael Ammermuller would hold at the top of the standings going into the final 2 races. That would be too tight to call in Mexico City. So make sure you join us for it. October, actually, isn't it? Rather than September, it's October, the race in Mexico City. 28th and 29th at the Circuit de Manos Rodriguez. Here's Matt Campbell, though, into the Parabolica for the final time. 4 pole positions this season, only 1 win at the Red Bull Ring. But now the young Australian from Queensland adds to his Porsche Supercup tally by taking victory in Monza. A first ever podium for Zaid Ashkanani in 2nd place. Great drive from the young Q80 driver, with Matteo Drudy, the Italian, getting a home podium. Jaap Van Lagen across the line in 4th. 5th, though, for Dennis Olsen. And across the line, Kamish finishes ahead of Ammermuller. As we see Matt Campbell waving, sees himself on the big screen and gives a wave to the camera. But Ammermuller finishing behind Kamish, meaning that the gap is 2 points at the top of the championship now. Ammermuller leads it, but only 2 points clear of Dennis Olsen, where it was 8 points coming into the weekend. But Matt Campbell taking the victory, dominated the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia last year, and the young Porsche driver, by that I mean Porsche young driver, part of the programme, has had a great victory. Great performance from Zaid Ashkanani, the Q80 driver for the MRS GT racing team, having a good run in 2nd position. 3rd across the line for Matteo Drudy. But there's Dennis Olsen. But what will the reaction be of Michael Ammermuller, because that was just a disastrous race. There's the 3rd place man, Matteo Drudy, at his home race, getting on the podium for only the 2nd time. A 2nd place in Spa was his first podium finish of his Porsche Supercup career. But a great drive, a commanding drive from Matt Campbell. Finished 1.4 seconds clear of Zaid Ashkanani. Got a great start, and from then on the FAC Autotech driver just disappeared. Never really put under pressure for the lead of the race. We had the safety car come out, and actually his safety car restart was exceptional. And there we go, there's an Australian fan. I think they're here for Danny Rick, but nevertheless, a very happy, no doubt, to see an Australian take victory in the Porsche Supercup. So whilst the rest of the cars are funneled back to the back part of the paddock, the top 3 will go around to Parc Fermé for the podium presentations. Here's a look at the results then after 14 laps of racing. Matt Campbell taking the victory for FAC Autotech, 1.4 seconds clear of the superb Zaid Ashkanani, best ever performance in the Porsche Supercup. Matteo Drudy finishing 3rd for Dynamic Motorsport. As far as the championship is concerned, the crucial points, 5th for Dennis Olsen and 10th for Michael Ammermuller. Further down, You've got the likes of Mikkel Overgaard Pedersen in 15th after he was running well up inside the top 10. Same is true of Philip Morin in 19th place. Those two coming together at Curva Grande and dropping down the order. Roel Lindland there in 20th. Chris Bauer in 22nd. And Ilgo Valilko finishing 3 laps down after having to pull over at the side of the track. Paul Rees, Daniele Diamato and Dylan Pereira not finishing. But here's Matt Campbell. None of the title protagonists on the podium. But Matt Campbell absolutely delighted.